Fabulous.
All right, well, let's get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Iget. Oh, you're muted, Shika.
Sorry, I was muted. So, hello, everyone. My name is Shika. And Aget and I are on the leadership development team for the National Council. So first of all, we want to thank you all for tuning in tonight for our first club training, which is hopefully going to be the first of many throughout the year. So as I said, Aget and I are on the National Council. And essentially the council is composed of 14 college and high school students who work to strengthen the UNICEF Unite Clubs program, and we also provide a lot of perspective on youth voice to UNICEF USA. So for today's first training, we are delighted to welcome our community fundraising manager, Emiliana Lopez, and for her to walk us through virtual fundraising 101 training. And once again, thank you to all of the UNICEF Unite Club members and UNICEF members who just came to join us today.
Yeah, and because it's October, which means we are celebrating UNICEF USA's 70th anniversary of Trick or Treat for UNICEF, we couldn't pass on the opportunity to make a spooky theme and dress up. And as you can tell, I'm a pumpkin. So if you also dressed up, make sure to snap a picture watching this webinar and tag the UNICEF Club. So I'll now turn it over to Amelia, but please feel free to chat your questions or throughout the session, and we'll be back to formally introduce the National Council and talk about some UNICEF Club related updates at the end. So please stick around.
All right, thank you, Gat. Thank you, Shika, and I love both of your costumes. So let me just walk you quickly through the agenda of what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to be leading us in a virtual fundraising 101 training. So I'm going to talk a little bit about our UNICEF USA community fundraising team, how to host a virtual event for UNICEF, some of the platforms and resources available to you, some best practices and ways that we can take action, some idea sharing, then go into a fun Q&A section, which is where I'll throw on my costume and then I'll pass it back over to the National Council to do some closing remarks. Now, why we are calling this a virtual fundraising 101, you might be wondering, and that is because due to concerns around the spread of COVID-19, we have actually had to make the difficult decision to not approve any in-person fundraisers or events that benefit our organization for the time being. So we are going to continue to monitor the situation and reevaluate on an ongoing basis, but you should know that the health and safety of all of our supporters remains our top priority. So for now, we are only approving virtual events, which is why we are doing this training. Okay. So first, would love to introduce you to our community fundraising team. And what we do at UNICEF USA is we work to inspire and support our constituents, such as all of you joining our call tonight, who are engaging your communities by organizing fundraisers, educational and/or advocacy events on behalf of UNICEF USA. So what we work to do is to provide resources, technologies, and expertise for all of you to ensure that our constituents have a meaningful experience and that you can maximize your fundraising potential. Now, you can contact us anytime at hello@unicefusa.org. So I think it's pretty easy email to remember. Anything that you need, feel free to shoot your question over to that email account. And here is our team, Abby, Kirsten, and I. Yeah, so again, you can contact us anytime at hello@unicefusa.org. Now, I specifically get to manage our fundraising and event program. So what I get to do is support individuals or groups that are interested in organizing fundraisers and/or awareness-driven events on behalf of UNICEF USA. So what we call those are third-party events or passive beneficiary events. So this means that it's an event hosted by an individual or a group, and it's financed by that host, not by UNICEF USA, but we are the beneficiaries of your efforts. So if you've hosted any sort of fundraiser or event at your school or in your community, that is what we call a third-party event. And we capture all of this through the fundraiser and event application. And if there's one thing that you remember tonight, is this super easy URL, unicefusa.org/fundraiser. This is the most important thing that you can remember from tonight that you can take away. And this is where we vet and approve all of the opportunities that you all want to host on behalf of our organization. So I'll get into that in just a moment. So let's go through the steps. So first, you come up with an idea for an activity or a fundraiser. Remember, it should be virtual despite that picture there, but one day we'll be back to in-person events. And then you go to unicefusa.org/fundraiser, and you'll see right there a big yellow button that says submit your idea, and you fill out the application, which we'll go into in a minute. And then once you're approved, you can explore all of our resources that you have available. You can customize your event page, which we'll talk about in a moment, and then show us your stuff, which I'll get to in a minute as well. We want to see the flyers that you're making and all of the great things that you have planned for your event. So here's the fundraiser and event application, and it's pretty easy, pretty straightforward. You put in all the information of the host, so whoever is putting on the fundraiser or event, pretty straightforward, the contact information, what this event is going to entail, what you want to support. And then important to note here is if you want a ticketing page for your event, you must check the box that says check the box for a UNICEF ticketing page, which I'll get into in just a second. So very important that when you are filling out the application that you do this. Okay. So now let's move into platforms and resources for your events. And the first one is that ticketing or RSVP platform that I just talked about. Now, if you've ever hosted an event on behalf of UNICEF and you've created a ticketing page, you know that it's a great way for you to either sell tickets or to get free RSVPs to your, RSVPs to your event, right? So you can customize your own event page. Again, make sure you check that box on the application. You can include all the event details, the date, the time, the location, all of, the generic information about your event. And all the tickets that are sold through that platform or any donation that is made will go straight to UNICEF USA for the cause that you designated on the application. So there's no need for you to gather money and then submit a check or have to handle any sort of money. It all goes directly to UNICEF USA. So as the host, you can actually keep track of registrants on the back end in real time. So you can pull a report. Once we're back to having in-person events, this is really handy for when you maybe have the guest list that you want to pull up, but also for virtual events. You can see who has signed up, the number of people, their name, their email, their name, the last name, the email address. You can even add customized questions. So it's really great for you to be able to gather information about who is coming to your event. And then something that's really cool and important for virtual events is that you can actually customize the email confirmations that people receive when they purchase a ticket or register for your event. And this also serves as a tax-deductible receipt, so it's perfect for you to be able to use this platform to gather donations. So here is an example of what a ticketing page would look like on a phone. So I just took a couple screenshots of a sample event to gather RSVPs only. So you see the $0 sign right there. This is a free event. You see it has the date, the time, the title. What you don't see, just because I didn't capture it in the screenshot, is a body where you can put in the copy of what this event is. You can add a gallery section. You notice that there's that donate button, even though this is a free event, anyone can donate any amount in support of your event regardless. And then here's what a ticketed event would look like. So this is an example from the computer. So you can see what it looks like on computer version and what it looks like when it's a ticketed event. So you can edit all of the different ticket types that you want. So maybe you want a VIP prize, maybe you want a day of prize, maybe you want to include some suggested donations at different price points, and you can do that You can have the flyer there be center place. For the where, you see how you can customize it to say Zoom. And again, this is where it's going to be really handy for you to customize that confirmation email that people will receive when they purchase a ticket to include those Zoom details. So just like you signed up to attend this webinar, it's a perfect example. Okay, great. Another really great platform at your disposal is GoFundMe. This is our peer-to-peer crowdfunding platform. So you can easily create a page on our GoFundMe, on our UNICEF USA GoFundMe page. Or we have these 3 really great campaign pages already set up. You see the UNICEF Unite here on the screen, the UNICEF Clubs one. They're pretty close in fundraising totals, which is great. And you can create your own page that's also easily customizable. You'll see that it'll have the totals of how much each team has raised, which is always just a fun way to keep track of what everyone is fundraising. You can customize where you have that video. You can add in your own pictures. You can customize the title. You see, you can have a goal there of what people are working towards. And this is really great. For example, if you want to dedicate a special event for UNICEF, you can do that, such as Andrea did here. She did her birthday fundraiser for Yemen. Or you can do it if you're a UNICEF club, for example, if you just want to create one for your club, and at all of your events, you want to direct people to fundraise at the end of the event, you can always direct them to your fundraising page. And at the end of this, the National Council has a special message just for our UNICEF clubs on why this is so important. So we love GoFundMe, and it's always a great way for you to dedicate a special moment, an event. Now that people aren't going out, you can direct people to fundraise this way, and it's always fun and easy. Now, as far as resources, if you go to unicefusa.org/unite/resources, we have a whole plethora of easily downloadable toolkits, such as this one, which walks through virtual event ideas. So you can easily go on there, see all of the great resources that our team has available for you. But I just wanted to show this one because it really highlights a lot of different virtual events that you could be doing right now. Also, I apologize, there's someone doing lawn or yard work outside of my house. I hope you can't hear that, but hopefully it's all good. Now for approved events, you also have access to this fundraiser and event resources website, where you can look through the different collections and click through them for depending on what event you're hosting or how you identify as a constituent. And you can easily download so many different resources that we have available to you. This is also where you would get access to our logo. So the one that says brand guidelines, that's where you will find all of our logos that you could use to create your flyers, your marketing materials. And then again, it's just really easy to go on there, download. You have templates for PowerPoint, you have templates for if you want to make a t-shirt, and lots of really great things at your disposal, but only once your event is approved do you get access to this page. Okay, moving right along into best practices. So I just want to talk through some do's and don'ts and some great ways to work with us. So first, we'll go into the do's. So again, when your event is approved, you'll get access to our logos, and we want you to only use approved logos. So for example, you see in this flyer here, it's the In Support of UNICEF USA logo. So those are the ones that you are able to use. And then we just ask that anytime that you use our logo, that you send us all of the marketing materials. So this is the social media posts, flyers, or any language or copy that uses UNICEF's name or logo for approval to hello@unicefusa.org. So you've come up with your idea, you filled out the application, you're approved, you create your flyer. The best next step is to send it to hello@unicefusa.org. I get to review and get back to you pretty quickly so you can get started on your event. But this is a very, very important step that we ask that you please take. When it's an event that's maybe on a larger scale, we do want you to note if there's going to be any sort of companies, talent, media, any sort of involvement, and you can include this either on the application or in the email or via email, I'm sorry. So please note that for us, as we do need to vet any time that a company wants to do something in support of UNICEF, and just so that we are able to streamline any requests to media, for example, or to talent. So again, this is also a very, very important step. And this also goes for guest speakers. So a lot of times our constituents want to host maybe an online webinar or a speaker series, and you would love for a UNICEF speaker to come, which is great. And we are more than happy to vet those opportunities, but we do ask that you streamline those through me and through the hello@unicefusa.org account instead of actually going and reaching out to our UNICEF contacts directly. And then finally, we do want you to always practice our tips on staying safe online, and our wonderful National Council members are going to talk about those at the end. And then the same is true of the don'ts. Please don't include any company's name or logo or on any resource without it being vetted first. So again, there is a place for you to note that in the application, or you can send it to the email account. Please don't print, distribute, publish any marketing materials or do any sort of outreach to media, to guest speakers or potential panelists, to partners before receiving final approval on how you're using UNICEF's name or logo. Okay, so it's pretty easy. You can just send us the copy that you're hoping to use to maybe invite someone to participate. We get quick eyes on it, make sure that we're all good to go, and then you can move forward. And then, of course, as the name of this webinar says, please don't host any in-person events for the time being, as we are only supporting virtual events. All right, now into taking action and idea sharing. So we want to hear from you and see what you are doing on the ground. So first, let's talk about Trick or Treat for UNICEF. And we have a fun little poll for you if we can get it. Okay, great. So this year we are celebrating our Trick or Treat for UNICEF anniversary number what? Okay, I see a lot of great answers coming in. Awesome. I see you were paying attention at the beginning when Aget mentioned this. Okay, let's give it 5 more seconds. Awesome. So while we wrap up the poll, Trick or Treat for UNICEF, if you answered the 70th anniversary, you are correct. Trick or Treat for UNICEF started in 1950 when children across the US went out and collected coins in hand-painted milk cartons to help the children that were affected by World War II. But since then, generations of children in the US have gone door to door on Halloween with the signature orange Trick or Treat for UNICEF collection boxes, asking people to make donations to Trick or Treat for UNICEF, of course, at the same time as getting your candy. And since 1950, the tradition of kids helping kids has raised about $180 million to help UNICEF support children with healthcare, nutrition, safe water, emergency relief, and education. So that is why we are excited to get you all thinking about some events for Trick or Treat for UNICEF. So here is a great one pager that talks about some fun things that you can do this Halloween season. So you can host an online costume reveal party. You could do a scary movie virtual watching party, a scary show and tell. You can host a virtual cooking class. So maybe you have a really great fall recipe that you want to share with your community. So you can always host a fundraiser around that. Or you can sell the rights to your pumpkin. So these are all really fun ideas. So now let's hear from you. We have a second poll coming your way. All right, so tell us, have you planned your trick or treat for UNICEF fundraiser yet? Are you working on it? Do you already have something planned for your spectacular virtual event? Are you maybe looking to get ideas after this training? And most important of all, are you filling out the fundraiser and event application after this call? Good, yay, it makes me so happy that you are looking for ideas, and hopefully this one pager just gives you some things that you can do very specific to the season. But like I said, you also have that virtual 2-pager on our site, the virtual ideas 2-pager on our site that you can also grab other ideas and make it Halloween themed. Okay, great. We can go ahead and wrap up the poll. So most of you are looking for ideas, which is fabulous. Hopefully you'll get some good ones here. Okay, and for those of you who have hosted a virtual fundraiser, maybe this season, maybe earlier this year, or you plan to do one, feel free to chat in some of those ideas. And now I actually want to invite Shika and Aget to come back on and join me. We're going to share some of these virtual ideas that you are all doing and then transition into our Q&A. Hi, Aget. Hi, Shika.
Hey.
Hello.
So if there's any good fundraisers, make sure to put them in the chat. Like if you guys have done anything interesting, we'd love to hear about it. We can share it out so others are getting some advice as well. Let's see. If you see any, go ahead and start reading them.
Okay.
I know our club's program, the UNICEF club's Instagram has been posting some like examples of what people have been doing. And there's a lot of different things you can do virtually for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen a lot of great things come through the fundraiser and event application as well. So
that's really good. Have you like had a favorite one so far, or?
Oh gosh, good question. I think they're all great. There's a lot of virtual movie nights happening and game nights, which I think are really fun. There's a lot of use of social media, definitely.
That's cool. And I think we've got some responses in the chat, which is great to hear as well. Max has said that they are doing bingo boards on their Instagram stories. And Audrey has said that her club is doing a spooky show and tell text, or spooky show and tell text.
Yes. And Thomas said they're planning to do a virtual costume contest. And they ask participants to submit photos and describe their costume, and then people will vote for their best costume. And then Monica said trivia night with teens.
And then I think we've got one from Justin, and he says it's a Valorant game tournament fundraiser, which sounds very
wow.
I like all these.
Wow.
And then there's Malik said that they're thinking of doing a virtual paint night, which would be fun.
I love that. Like you could paint something Halloween, yeah.
Or like a pumpkin carving virtual night. I feel like that'd be so much fun.
Mm-hmm. And some clubs are still discussing, and that's fine. But they are thinking of doing a virtual paint night. Sounds like fun. And we have someone who's doing a virtual cookie house decorating contest. Wow.
Oh, love that.
That's our artist.
Those are really good ideas. I feel like there's a bunch of different.
Keep them coming.
You need to post them on social media and tag us so that we can see them.
Yeah, for sure. We love reposting.
Well, I'll see them in the fundraiser and event application.
Oh yeah.
But so others can see it on social media.
For sure. All right. Well, if anyone else wants to put them in the chat, go ahead. Otherwise, I think that we can also transition to our Q&A.
Great.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and stop sharing my screen so the three of us will be up on the screen. So tell me if we are all good to go here.
I think we are all good to go.
Okay.
All right. So, okay. All right, clubs. If you still have any questions, please make sure you're dropping them in the Q&A section. So we have a question. So, would you prefer to have school clubs direct donors to the Trick or Treat virtual platforms, or set up a GoFundMe page?
Great. So first, I'm going to put on my costume. And this was all I could find in my house. So I'm a pilot. I even tried to put on a shirt that kind of fit the costume, but my dad told me that I was missing the jacket, but that's okay. So have to get in the spirit. So great question. So participating in Trick or Treat for UNICEF, there's lots of fun things that you can do. Now for GoFundMe, why this is a great opportunity for our clubs to fundraise through GoFundMe is for a couple of reasons. One of which Shika and again are going to explain further in a little bit, but basically in summary, for our UNICEF club members, we do have a year-long fundraising competition that happens amongst all of our clubs. So if you fundraise through GoFundMe, all of those donations will count towards the UNICEF Clubs Challenge. And that is the only way that we are able to see that those funds came in through your club. Make sure that you get credit for it, and make sure that at the end of the school year, when we pull the report to see all the funds that were raised by clubs, that's how we identify our top 3 fundraising winners. That's for our club specifically, for fundraising for TOT. So thank you. I imagine that is from a club member.
All right, perfect. And so then we've got another question. And this is, what are some tips to get people to donate and get involved in your fundraiser? Emiliana, do you want to start off that question?
Sure. So some tips for people to get involved in your fundraiser? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, well, maybe I'll speak from a platform side, and then you all can speak from experience of being on the ground and seeing what other volunteers respond well to. But I would say that, again, just even being able to create a ticketing page and being able to direct people with an easy link where they can register, where they can get a confirmation email that's easy to attend that event. I think that is always just like a really great way for them to have all the information in one place. Maybe they, don't follow you on social media, or maybe just heard about the event. So using the platform will help you streamline and keep everything in one place, and keep track of everyone that's coming. So maybe that's one way, but perhaps you guys have a better idea on how to get people involved.
Yeah, for sure. So I think that just adding to that question, for my own experience as someone who's done fundraisers with high schoolers, I think that eye-catching flyers, obviously pass them through Emiliana and make sure that the logo used and everything, the wording and all that is good for it. But I think that when you have fun flyers with bright colors or just pretty pictures on it, it can really make it seem really cool to attend. And if you post it on your social media or something like that, people will see the flyer a lot, and then they'll be like, oh, I should check this out, and be more interested. And again, if you have anything else to add, go ahead.
Yeah, let me just add a little bit onto that. So if you can, so since we're in this uncertainties where like everything is online, it's really important to make sure that your Instagram or Facebook or any like social media platform is like, open to the members that you're trying to reach out to. Especially if you guys have a fundraiser, make sure you guys do host like a live explaining what that fundraiser is or are, just so people are aware of like how they can be of help, how they can join, and what else they need to do. So
great ideas.
All right, let's move on to another question. Again, if you want to ask one.
Yes, of course. Okay, so are we only approving online events for the entire 2020-21 year, or is it just for the October?
Yep, great question. So we are at this time not approving any events for the foreseeable future. So that is well into 2020, the 2020 year, and then we're going to continue evaluating as 2020 comes around and what is happening in the world. If there's a vaccine that does come out and things do go back to some sort of normal, we're going to reevaluate this decision. But for the time being, it's for the foreseeable future and until further notice.
Yeah, I would just say one thing, like, it is a little disappointing as someone who loves fundraisers that everything's virtual, but I think there is so many ways you can make your fundraisers interesting. And there are so many resources that are like being used now, whether it's like virtual games or Zoom calls, and just get super creative with it, I think, and you can still have a really successful and fun fundraiser.
Totally agree.
Mm-hmm. And so next, let's see. Another one is, I guess, Emiliana, I think you'd be best to answer this. The question is, my school won't allow us to create a GoFundMe. We can accept donations through our school student store. So where would we donate that money?
Yeah, great question. So again, this question is very specific to our Unicef clubs. And if there are other people on the call who don't belong in this group, there are other ways for you to submit your funds. But for our Unicef club program, our Unicef club members, if you are not able to create a GoFundMe, that's okay. You can still collect the donations in whatever way you are able to. And then we have two main ways that you can remit your funds. You can do it online at unicefusa.org/club remit. And that is online on our, I think you guys have a slide on this and we'll show it in a little bit. Or you can do it, and thank you, Morgan, for putting that into the chat box, or you can mail in a check using a club donation form. And these two ways are the two ways that we would know that those funds that came in are from your club. And again, it will count towards the club's challenge. For anybody else outside of our club's program who still, is fundraising in their own way, and you would like to remit your funds, it would be unicefusa.org/remit. So without the club. And then you also have a form that you can use. And again, all of these resources are online where Morgan is linking them. And you would also, once your event passes, you'll also receive an email with the links of where you can remit your funds. Great question, because this is very important for our Unicef club specifically, so that their funds can count towards the club's challenge.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. So whenever club members asked, so their club is looking to host an online classes. If they use a virtual ticketing page, could they have a separate page for each class or one page for all?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, great question. I think I would definitely want to chat with this club a little bit further to see what kind of class it is. Is it like a series of let's say a cooking class and it's a series of over a month period and each week is going to be a different recipe, or what kind of class specifically they're talking about, we can certainly chat offline about this. But the good news is that once you fill out the fundraiser and event application, you'll see that it really is a quick and easy process, and that even if you do want a different ticketing page with its own link, its own details, you can easily fill out the fundraiser and event application again for the different events. So it just depends, but happy to have that conversation.
Perfect. And then there is another really quick question. Will this be recorded and posted somewhere? It is going to be recorded and posted to the club's YouTube. So if you want to go back and look at any part or share it with people who might have missed this, you can definitely do that. And then just to go off on another question, let's see. So somebody asked, can we put our own photos for the template? Emiliana, do you think you can answer that?
Sorry, can you repeat that one again?
Yeah, for sure. So the question is, I'm not 100% sure I'm not sure what they're talking exactly about, but it's, can we put our own photos for the template?
Okay, so maybe you're talking about the different downloadable templates that we have in that fundraiser and event resources page. And it just depends. If you are wanting to create your own invites and there are some templates on there, yeah, you certainly can absolutely add in your own images that you want to use. It just, what we want to see is how you're using UNICEF's logo specifically.
Okay, and they wanted if we can mention again the website where they can find or create their own fundraising platform.
Yep, so that would be when you fill out the fundraiser and event application. So again, if there's one thing that you remember from this whole call, unicefusa.org/fundraiser. And Morgan would be happy to put it back in the chat box and we'll follow up via email as well with that link. But it's really easy, and on there is where you would fill out the fundraiser and event application with all the details about your event, and that's where you would check the box to create your own ticketing page.
Yeah, just make sure to just copy and paste it and keep it somewhere so you guys don't forget. If you guys don't remember anything that we talk about in here, just copy and paste that.
Exactly, bookmark it.
Perfect. So now we got another question, and it's, can we do any events for World Children's Day next month? So I guess, again, I can probably answer this. You can definitely do an event. For the time being, it's probably going to be virtual. But with that, you could definitely do something because it is such an important day for UNICEF, and really get creative with it. I really think there's an endless amount of different ideas. And also, if you go onto like the UNICEF clubs page for clubs, but also there's other resources that I'm sure Emiliana can point to as well, where you can see examples of virtual fundraisers.
And then, oh, sorry, again, I cut you off.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, make sure that you are receiving our emails, because we also send out, if we're asking our volunteers, our supporters, our uniters to activate in a certain way around any sort of special campaign or moment, that's where we would first launch it, or on our social media platforms. So make sure you follow us there as well.
And if you also haven't joined our group chat or the UNICEF group chat, go ahead and do that now. Just so if you guys have any questions in terms of like what fundraising or any ideas, we're in that chat, so we can also like, drop in some ideas for you guys.
Yeah, and that's on the Slack.
Yeah.
And so I think there's information about it on the club's Instagram as well. So that's a great way to kind of interact with other club members if you are a club's member, but also there's countless opportunities for uniters in general.
Okay. Yeah. And then just another question is, so they set up a virtual trick-or-treat box, but they don't know how to turn those into funds at the end of the fundraising period. I think I can answer this, but you guys can like hop on. I know, so I was a president for my club this past year. So what we did was we took like the coins or the money that we had raised, and then we took it to Walmart, and like we put all the coins in, and then it was like a ticket, or it was like kind of like a check. And then we went to, yes, there we go. Thank you, Morgan. So we went there, the link that Morgan put in the chat, and that's how we submitted our funds. So anyone can like hop on.
Sure. So I can clarify. I think what you're talking about is Coinstar, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So that is during a normal trick or treat for UNICEF season. That's where you would, traditionally go out and go door to door or host some sort of in-person event. And with that change, you could then go ahead and submit it through Coinstar, because it's really easy to do it that way. But this year, because it's all virtual, if you have any questions specifically about that, feel free to email trickortreat@unicefusa.org, and they will be able to answer questions specifically about your question on your virtual box.
Perfect. Thank you, Emiliana, for the answer as well. And then I'm seeing some stuff about, one of the questions is, I'm starting a brand new UNICEF club at my school. What advice do you have for a completely new club? So for that, I think I'm going to combine it also with another question, which is that, I'm trying to find it, sorry. I noticed that members aren't super engaged during our meetings. What ideas or suggestions do you have to introduce new fundraisers or simply bond with members? So for both of those, I think that one thing to remember is that virtual meetings are obviously going to be a little bit of an adjustment, and you have to do new approaches. But I think trying to find something engaging to do virtually, whether it's like online games, like Jackbox games, or like a Kahoot at the beginning of your meeting, can really get people interested. And it can kind of just get them to pay attention from the beginning. Again, do you have any other things for new clubs or how to keep people engaged virtually?
Yes, of course. So since we're, where we are right now, I think it's really important to also, so the leadership development team did a recording on mental health and mental well-being. And I know sometimes a lot of members don't want to engage because, it's overwhelming, or something happened. So it's also just making sure you're keeping in mind of what's possibly going on their end, so you can find different activities to help them engage, whether it's having a short 20 minutes conversation on getting to know them first. And then that's honestly how you create that bond and honesty, and it just create a very welcoming environment. So I recommend just making sure that you're welcoming those members who are coming in with open arms.
Yeah, for sure. I think those are great examples. And I think it's just trying your best to keep it engaging, whether it's games or having conversations. Use breakout rooms if you can. That's another great way to kind of divide up people in your club, so it's not a 40-person group that you're just talking to, but rather you can have those intimate conversations with. And try hosting some sort of virtual fundraiser that you can get your club members to go to as well.
Totally. Okay, so how about one more question, and then you guys can take over your portion?
Yes, of course. Let's see. Okay. So one person said in the past they've had trouble with outreach, especially now since everything is virtual, and they don't have great influence through the club social media alone. Besides trying the best to increase the social media. Oh, where'd it go? Sorry. Oh my gosh, I lost it.
It sounds like it was a good one.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna do another one.
All right.
Okay. So at the very bottom. There we go. Okay, so person asked, to be clear, do they email trickortreat@unicef.org to turn on like the virtual coins to for funds?
Yeah, so exactly. trickortreat@unicefusa.org is the best place to direct any questions specifically on the virtual TOT box. But if you have any questions, email hello@unicefusa.org, and I'm happy to help direct that question to the people. It makes sense too. So I think, so it looks like you have the question up again, and maybe in this portion you can touch base on it, since I know you're going to talk a little bit about clubs. So this is the portion where we end the call for anyone who is not in our UNICEF clubs program. And the reason why is because we are going to talk specifically about our UNICEF clubs. So if you did tune in, if you're a Uniter and you tuned in, thank you so much. I hope that this webinar was useful for you. Please stay in touch. Remember unicefusa.org/fundraiser. And for all of our club members, stay on because we have some great last 15 minutes coming your way. So I'm going to mute myself and get the screen back up for y'all, and you can go ahead and take it over. Thanks so much for having me again, and Chica, I'll be here.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Are we going to share the screen and then we can, perfect. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the National Council. So as I mentioned before, the National Council is composed of 14 high school and college students. And really our goal is to serve as kind of a connecting point between the UNICEF Clubs program and UNICEF USA as a whole, so we can represent youth voice the best way possible. And so I'd like to introduce our National Council a little bit more. So we're not all here today, but we have a couple National Council members aside from Aget and I, and we're gonna have them kind of just talk a little bit about what the National Council is, introduce the specific teams, and there's a lovely photo that was just there. If we go back a slide, there was that lovely collage of all our National Council members. So as I said again, I make up the leadership development team with Aget, and essentially our role is that we make sure that all club members and leaders are equipped with everything that you need to lead your club successfully. And so before I pass it on, I just want to remind, I want to put in a word for the internal comms team, Cynthia, who runs that. She's not here today, but she does a lot of the intermanagement between the National Council and UNICEF USA. And I think I'll pass it off to Justin and Ishan to talk about their own teams as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Ishan and I'm a high school student from California. I'm on the retention team, which supports returning clubs and facilitates our registration for our clubs program. I'll pass it on to Justin, who's on the IMAC team. Hey Justin.
Hey Sean, my name is Justin. I am a high school student in Southern California, and I am a part of our National Council's IMAC team, which stands for Interactive Media and Communications, and we basically help run all the social media channels and really communicate with you guys. So yeah, I'll pass it back to Shika and Aget.
Yeah, for sure. I'll just put in something quickly. I'm Shika. I'm a high schooler in Minnesota. And for the internal comms, essentially, as I said, they coordinate communications between UNICEF USA staff and National Council. And then also, we don't have anyone here from recruitment today, but the recruitment team works on expanding and diversifying our club's program. And then I'll pass it back to Ishan to talk a little bit about club updates.
Yeah, so we're here to support you through your UNICEF Club's journey. And again, we're so glad that you're here. Now for a few club updates that you should keep at the top of your minds. So please do make sure that your club is registered through the UNICEF Clubs form. And you can find this at the website above, unicefusa.org/start-a-club. In order for your club to be approved, you do need at least 4 club leaders and an advisor who is over the age of 25. So that can be a parent, a teacher, or someone else, or a mentor. And your advisor will be sent a link to complete a background check. It's online, it's super easy, and it's free. Yeah, and we really do recommend that you do that before moving forward. So you'll also be hearing from our UNICEF You'll also be hearing from our youth representatives in the next month, and they're going to be serving as your local club support if you do live in a metro area in the UNICEF Unite community. Both the National Council and youth representatives will be checking in with you, and so we'll be helping, and they will be helping you with any support that you may need. And I'll pass it back to Justin.
Yeah, so covering those last 2 points, we are adding a new little system for our UNICEF Clubs program, which is a little UNICEF Clubs SMS channel. So all you have to do is text join to that number 86483. And so you'll get little updates from us every now and then. We are tested out. Everything seems to be going well. So I think you guys should hop on that real soon. And then, yeah, what Morgan put in the chat. And then we also want to highlight you, which means that, you know, I help with running the Instagram and all our social media channels. We really want to highlight all the communities going on across the nation. So if your club's doing a really cool virtual fundraiser, or if you're going to participate in these little, as you can see here, we did a little support or thank your teacher campaign, and we got a bunch of club members across the nation to take a picture. We really want to highlight that. So if you want to submit that to us, that would be really awesome. Passing it back to Iget to take the rest of this.
Thank you so much, everyone, for that update. Can we go to the next slide, please? Thank you. How many of you guys know what the George Harrison Fund for UNICEF is? This is to our club members that are registered right now. Well, because this training was all about fundraising, we of course wanted to touch base on the George Harrison Fund for UNICEF Club Challenge. Let's see. Yes. So can we go to the next slide? So to do this, we're going to show you a short, quick video that just explains, you know, what this challenge is and how you can participate.
On August 1st, 1971, George Harrison, a former member of the Beatles, the band that changed music, staged a concert that changed the world.
Here is another chance to put compassion into action, as they did at the concert for Bangladesh.
At the time, now I'm asking all of you to help us save some lives.
We're putting out a challenge to all our supporters and UNICEF clubs across the country. The challenge? To support UNICEF's life-saving work through fundraising and events, with the top 3 fundraisers winning a special prize. People everywhere are facing hard times. Hope seems to be at an all-time low. And that's why, now, more than ever, the world needs your good doing. All you have to do is accept the challenge, as George did.
Mr. Harrison, with all of the enormous problems in the world, how did you happen to choose this one to do something about?
Because I was asked by a friend if I'd help, you know, that's all.
You don't have to be a member of the most influential band of all time to make a difference. But a little help from him doesn't hurt. That's why the George Harrison Fund for UNICEF is matching all donations raised this academic year, up to $100,000.
The world is a much different place than when George performed. We face more challenges than ever, but I firmly believe if ever there was a generation to rise up and meet them, it's yours.
You know I believe in how.
Thank you. Oh, thank you. So if you guys would like to access this video or
On
show
August,
this video to your members, you can access it at UNICEF Club's social media accounts and also at unicefusa.org/clubs-challenge. So as you saw in this video, the UNICEF Club Challenge is a fundraising competition among all of our UNICEF clubs. So the 2020-2021 challenge is is live and ends on June 1st, 2021. So make sure you do submit all of your funds before then. So all funds that you raise by the student members of the UNICEF Club throughout 2020 through 2021 academic year will count towards this year's club challenge. And at the end of the academic year, the top 3 fundraising UNICEF Club will receive an award and a special opportunity on behalf of UNICEF USA for their efforts. So all of the funds that UNICEF clubs raise will be matched up to $100,000 by the George Harrison Fund for UNICEF. So your impact will go even farther. So just make sure that your clubs do participate in this challenge. So we also want to make sure that you are staying aware of this challenge and how you can also participate or engage. So just make sure you're watching out for that. And for more information, including timeline, resource, and more, just make sure you visit that website that's going to be dropped in the group chat. I can actually do that right now, or you can also email our email at hello@unicefusa.org. I'm going to drop that in the group chat right now. Let's see.
And again, I can drop it in the thing if you need as well.
Okay, I got it.
Perfect.
Back to you. Go ahead, Shika.
All right, so then the next thing is that if you're doing all this wonderful fundraising, we also want to make sure that all club members and club leaders know how to basically remit your funds online or by mail. So I know Emiliana talked about this a little earlier, but if you see the little photos on the screen, this is our updated, wonderful UNICEF Club resources page. And so if you go to it, the link is on the slide, but we can also copy paste it into the chat. It's just unicefusa.org/club resources. And if you go to that, you'll be able to remit your funds. So when you remit your funds using the right forms, it's really the only way that UNICEF USA can track what the UNICEF clubs raised in terms of money in order for it to qualify for the club's challenge. So we would love for the money that all club members are raising throughout this year to actually get doubled. And that's why it's so important to follow these steps by remitting it online. And so you can visit that link that I talked about and bookmark the 2 ways you can either remit your funds, which is online or by mail. And so you click submit your funds button at the online portal where the arrow is, or if you click on student leaders, you'll find the mail-in donation form. So it just really matters on which way you're doing it. And then also, if you do donate on the GoFundMe page, that's also going to be included with the club's challenge. So either way is great. And don't forget to include your club's name when you are donating the money and remitting them, because in that way we can give credit to you. And you could be one of our top 3 winners. All right, and then the next thing is best practices for staying safe online. This is all the more important right now because everything is virtual, but we just want to make sure that all our club UNICEF Uniters and our club members are all staying safe. So some things to close out with on tips. Just make sure that you are always checking your privacy settings. Make sure your locations cannot be identified, whether it's on your social media club, like your club social medias, or in anything else. Just make sure you don't have your location on. Make sure you block anyone that might make you feel uncomfortable or is posting things that just don't seem appropriate. And then also know where you can seek help. So whether that's in trusted adults or some other source, just make sure that you really follow these guidelines to make sure you have a safe experience. And as Morgan said, check out these safeguarding tips that she's put with the link. There's a bunch of wonderful tips for all the club members that would like it.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for joining this webinar. Please let us know if you have any questions. You can email us. DM us, or join the Slack group chat. If you have any questions, there we go. Email us at hello@unicefusa.org. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and looking forward to seeing all the other wonderful trainings that you all do for our club members. And I think someone was asking about the Slack in the chat box. Great. We will be sure and send a recording and all of the useful links that we mentioned, so you can have them handy after this webinar.
Sounds great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Chica, for having me. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.